Hi, good afternoon, everyone. This is Professor Sandeep Dahiya from Georgetown University McDonough School of Business. I hope everyone can hear me clearly, and I hope you can see the screen. I'm about to share my screen with my presentation. Before I go on, I would love to do a tech check. If I can ask anyone to raise their hands. If I can see someone raising their hands, that'll be great. Okay, yeah, looks like everything is coming through nice and clear. So thank you very much. And what I'll do is share my screen. Give me a second. The plan for today's session is to provide a high-level overview of the certificate in the business of health that is being offered to our MBA students, the full-time MBA students, as well as our flex MBA students. The plan is to go over some of the key details, and hopefully I can take some questions after that. So let me start by mentioning that healthcare is and has been a very critical part of the US economy. It makes up for more than 20%, nearly 20% of the US economy. It's also a sector that globally has been becoming a bigger part of every economy. It's just a secular trend. As countries become richer, they spend more on healthcare. Our location here in Washington, D.C. gives the McDonough School of Business a unique perspective. Healthcare, unlike many other sectors, has this very interesting overlay between the public sector, the private sector, and the regulators. And being in DC provides us with a ringside view of how policy is decided, how the private sector players jockey for position and cajole or advocate for policy reforms or policy outcomes that can help them. So it's a wonderful place where you can take a deep dive in this very, very important sector. Not only that, we have FDA that is based here. The Center for Medicare and Medicaid is based here. For those who are interested in life sciences, the US Patent Office is based here because so much of this life sciences business is driven by intellectual property. So I I'll wait for a minute because I think I have a hand up. Aditya Mulani, you have your hand up. Is there something? Okay, so I'm assuming you just put your hand down. Um, no problem. So let me keep going. The case for this new certificate, McDonough School of Business offers 6 certificates, and the healthcare is the latest of them. We have certificates in sustainable business, global assets, non-market strategy, consumer analytics, and of course now we have the healthcare certificate. And the reason we want to offer this to our students is for a variety of reasons. It's a very interdisciplinary field. There's an intersection of almost every large business concentration. You need to know finance, you need to know marketing, you need to know operations, as well as larger policy issues. It's also a very good fit for us. Georgetown has 3 healthcare focused schools: the School of Medicine, School of Nursing, and School of Health. So we already have a very big footprint in this sector. And I think the business school can add real value by focusing on how the private sector operates in this very important part of the economy. We have always had good student demand for healthcare. We always have about 5% of the students who go on to do their internships as well as their final placement in healthcare. And we are hoping this certificate lays the foundation for our long-term plan to have a center that is focused on business of health, and potentially down the line having joint degrees with other schools like the School of Medicine or School of Health. So we are very excited. The certificate is up and running. Let me take a minute to go through what the structure of this certificate is. It's only available to the MBA students as of now, the full-time, the flexible, and the flexible online. The flex online options are tough right now. So there is, you would probably need to come and actually attend some of these courses in person, because right now we do not have every course in an online version. The way the certificate is laid out is very similar to the other certificates. You don't have to declare that you are going to do this certificate. As long as you meet the course requirement, at the end, you have to just let the MBA office know that I've met the requirements, and they would make sure that your transcript has the notation that you earned a certificate in business of healthcare. So what is it that you need? You need a 10 and a half total credits to earn this certificate. 4.5 course credits out of those 10.5 are mandatory. There's no choice. One is actually a mandatory course for all of our MBAs, which is the structure of global industries, SGI. Every MBA student has to take it. Is probably literally the very first course that you take. So that should not be an issue for people who are considering this certificate. There is one more course which we require everyone to take if they want to earn this certificate, and it's called the Business of Healthcare. Is being taught by Mr. Dan Mendelsohn. Dan is the CEO of Morgan Health. He's a very well-respected healthcare professional, including he had founded a healthcare consulting company, which he sold, and he has a very deep knowledge of how the dollar flows through this industry. So this course provides a way of getting some grounding. You can consider it as a gateway course. It allows us to be sure that everyone has a minimum required background of this industry. The remaining 6 courses are made up of electives. At least 3 out of those 6 elective credits must be taken from what we call the List A. These are McDonough School of Business healthcare focused courses, and I'll show you what they are. And then another 3 credits can be taken from a List B. This includes courses both at the business school and across Georgetown University. So let me show you some of these courses that we have. So here is the List A. These are McDonough School of Business courses. There's a course called Mental Health in Workplace that's taught by a physician, Dr. Alan Langleb. There is Healthcare Data and Analytics, which is taught by Professor Sudipta. And there is a course on accounting for healthcare, government, and nonprofits. And there's a course on entrepreneurship and venture capital in healthcare, which actually I have created. So they're all 1.5 credits. Basically, you can take any 2 of these, and you would meet your requirement. Of course, you can take all 4, and in that case, you are done. You would have met the requirement for the certificate if you take all 4 of these. But if you choose to take only 2 out of this, you need 3 more credits, and here is the List B. What you see on the left as you look at the screen are the McDonough School of Business electives, and I am very confident that they are all 1.5 credits. So what it means is that you'll take 2 of those and you would meet your requirement. You could also look beyond the business school. As I mentioned, Georgetown University has a rich offering of healthcare related courses. Now, there is a little bit more administrative work if you want to cross-register for courses that are non-business schools. But hopefully this goes through very smoothly. You do have to take into account that some of these courses may not have the NEET 1.5 credits. So you have to make sure that you do take 3 credits from this list. So I am going to move on and finish at this point by saying that this is the most up-to-date information as of now. We are still tweaking it. We are still adding more details. So some of this information may be superseded in future. I also wanted to take a couple of minutes to talk about opportunities for students who are interested in healthcare. What opportunities do they have? There is a very active student club called Healthcare Business Alliance, HBA, and it uh, hosts events. It meets regularly. It's a very uh, networked student club. One of the big events that HBA hosts, and I was very happy to be part of it this year, is what is called the Healthcare Business Day. So we have our alums who are working in healthcare as well as other industry uh, professionals. We invite them. There are panel sessions, then there are breakout rooms, there are smaller sessions. This allows our students to network, to learn more about various players that uh, uh, in the industry. Are you interested in healthcare consulting? Are you interested more on the payer side, which is healthcare insurance? Would you like to know more about life sciences business, pharmaceuticals, devices? So usually there is a very good representation across the board of industry professionals who come here. So this is pretty much what I have in terms of the overall high-level view of this certificate. I am going to open the seminar for questions. Let me just make sure that I can stop sharing my screen and we can be back. Okay. Great. So I'm not completely sure if you would be able to send questions by chat, but or raise your hands, but I'm happy to hear from the audience.
I'm not sure if you can hear me, but the chat is disabled.
Okay, let me
But
make sure.
my question for you is, what kind of backgrounds are you looking for potential students who are interested in this program? Are you looking for somebody with backgrounds in healthcare or a
No,
diversity of backgrounds?
no, we don't. As we said, the certificate is very open. It's not at all exclusive. It's very inclusive. Anyone who's interested in healthcare and does this sequence of courses can earn that certificate. Of course, Catherine, we get a lot of students who have already worked in healthcare, whether as a consulting company or in a pharma company, and it's not a surprise that they tend to gravitate a lot more to both the student club as well as healthcare course offerings. But there is no requirement. We do not ask any specific background uh, to as a prerequisite for this.
Thank you.
So I have some Q&As opening up in my screen. Let me take them one by one and hopefully, okay. So the question from Emily is, would you be able to share a bit more about entrepreneurship and VC in healthcare course you'll be teaching next fall? Uh, yes, Emily, the course is going to be focused on what are the challenges that a healthcare entrepreneur faces. For example, in most other industries, say if you're a tech entrepreneur, it's not that difficult to understand who is buying your product and who is paying for it. In healthcare, it's not that clear. If you have a new device, yes, it's a patient who would actually have that device. It will be a physician who would be the gatekeeper, whether that device is recommended or not. And finally, even before any of this happens, the Medicaid, Medicare would decide whether this is an improvement on existing level of care, the standard of care that already exists in the existing devices, that it is worth reimbursing. So figuring out how you are going to make money as an entrepreneur is very, very challenging in healthcare. There's also the related issue of intellectual property. A lot of life science entrepreneurship is heavily driven by intellectual property that you can lay claim to, and which is defended, and that gives you the ability to price your product at a very high margins. How does a business student understand the issues related to intellectual property? Also, it will spend some time on what do venture capitalists of healthcare sector look for? What are the value inflection points that they would be looking for? That, yeah, here is our first round of investment, and if you achieve A, B, C, we'll consider it a success, and we'll do the subsequent round of financing. Unlike regular tech businesses or other businesses, the value creation points in life sciences are both easier as well as harder. Say if it's drug discovery, is like you do your phase one and you get your phase one trial, you get data back. What people don't appreciate is that the days when a trial would give you clean answers where you know for sure that this is working and it's doing great, like this particular therapy is just wonderful, you get a lot more muddled data. So the course is going to talk a little bit about how these trials work out, what kind of business decision you would be making based on these trials. And finally, you need to monetize your venture. So we'll spend a little bit of time on how do you exit, how do you sell, how do you do an IPO. I hope that's helpful. And what I'll do is I'll keep going down the way I'm in the order that I've received these Q&A. So Jacqueline asks, how does 10.5 credit requirement fit into overall full-time MBA course load? Is it part of students' elective courses? Indeed, it is. All these 10.5 credits count towards your MBA course load. In fact, as I mentioned, the SGI, the 3 credit course that you need for the certificate, actually is a required course to get an MBA. The remaining 7.5 credits that the certificate requires, yes, those would be from your elective. You can take a lot of electives. So if you take those electives, yes, you would get the certificate as well as meet the requirement for your MBA. Again, Jacqueline, I'll be happy to come back if you have any questions. So I'll move on to Aditya, and I'll read the question. Thank you, Professor, for giving a detailed overview. In addition to the electives present, are there any experiential learning courses, applied labs, research project, consulting project, global learning experiences that would be available as part of the certificate courses? So the 2 of the list A courses that we talked about are called ILEs. They're called intensive learning experiences. So these are week-long classes which meet from morning to evening, and it's a total immersion. So the mental health course as well as the data and analytics course would probably be in that immersive learning experience. In terms of actually going to a wet lab and doing research projects, some of the non-business school courses that are listed in list B, especially in biotechnology, the biotechnology department over at the medical school, you could potentially ask, and if you're cross-listed, you could potentially have those be applied to your course requirement. Consulting projects, global learning experiences, these are beyond the scope of the certificate because these are handled at an MBA level. And if you find yourself doing a global learning experience that has a very, very large healthcare component, you can always, on case by case basis, you can always approach the certificate director, in this case me, and put in a request, say that can this be counted towards your certificate, and I'll audit it, and I'll see if it meets the criteria, and if I feel like yes, it's got good content, I would approve it. Okay, the next one is from Michael Callan. What is the balance between studying the American healthcare market versus other international markets? As of now, the focus is very much on the US healthcare market. This is the first year of the certificate. Our recruiting is in healthcare is driven largely by US healthcare companies. Across the university, there are multiple courses. We have a couple of institutions. There is an institution called Global Health Institute. So for people who are interested in policy work, comparative studies, there are options that are available. And you could definitely cross list. You can definitely look into those and see if those could be applied towards earning the certificate. Let me go on to the next one. This is from Gunbu. Hello, Professor Sandeep Dahiya. Thank you for hosting this information session. My question is, would there be many opportunities to work with medical device companies in the US if I take this course? Gunbu, I'm not sure that I understand the question very well. I am going to paraphrase it as saying that what you mean is not the course, but this certificate. That is, if you have a certificate, do you have many opportunities to work with medical device companies? The short answer is no. The certificate does not have any formal arrangement with private sector companies, medical devices or therapy or what have you. They are very driven by by content. There's a certain amount of content that we deliver, and what they enable you to do is to engage, in this case, say a medical device company, in a more meaningful and deeper way. So the onus of contacting and nurturing a network with industry is still very much on the students. So the certificate will not be able to plug you in with pharma companies, with device companies, with biotech companies, but it would give you the tools so that you can talk if you do manage to network and you are talking to professionals in this industry, that you can hold your own and come across as someone who's sophisticated and knows the industry. So I have, next one is Riley. I'm currently active duty Army and have been admitted to McDonough. I intend to make psychedelic assisted therapy accessible nationwide for veterans and treatment resistant mental health conditions. Which courses and resources at McDonough or other Georgetown schools will facilitate my goal? Riley, this is an excellent question, and I think it's very admirable that you are taking on this very real and very painful challenge that our veterans are facing. Off the top of my head, I will not be able to point you to specific courses, but the medical school has a very, very active mental health department. The ILE, one of the courses on list A, is what is called mental health in organizations. So it's taught by a psychiatric professor. Alan Langleb, he might be able to point you to some courses that are more specific to the need that you articulated. Off the top of my head, I cannot say that here are the 6 courses that go, that would be excellent for you. And Another thing that I would like to add is as you make your decision about which MBA program you would like to join, if Georgetown is one of them, I would also urge you to reach out to the students, especially the student leadership of the Healthcare Business Alliance, the Student Healthcare Club, to get their impression as well as to how their experience has been, what are the strengths, what could be made better. It's always important to get the students' viewpoint as well, and hopefully that would give you some insights as well. I also wanted to thank everyone for taking the time out of their busy schedule to attend this webinar. Hopefully, it has been helpful, and hopefully, you have a lot more clarity about what the certificate entails, what is the pathway, and what it does and does not allow you to do. Yeah, I do have another question from Rudra Neil. Let me read that. How might an MBA student leverage resources at medical school or School of Public Policy or other schools at Georgetown to inform their McDonough journey towards working in pharma manufacturing? Uh, it's an excellent question. So, Rudranil, the medical school it houses a program called Masters in Biotechnology, and I happen to know the director very well. And that program has been a very good friend of this certificate, and they have opened a lot of their courses as potential courses that students can take. And that would be my first port of call when, if you're looking for something specific as working for pharma manufacturing. And you may not want to work actually on the factory floor, but in terms of business development, marketing, consumer analytics. So a lot of that stuff, the biotechnology program would give you a good grounding. A lot of things that pharma companies do are actually very similar to what, you know, say an automobile company does. How do you estimate market demand? How do you do marketing? How do you design a brand campaign? So there are a lot of courses that are not necessarily healthcare courses, but the content of those courses would also help you uh, be uh, be prepared to interview with AstraZeneca's of the world. And by the way, the AstraZeneca, Pfizer, these are the big names that come and recruit at MBA program in Georgetown. So Rishi, thank you, Professor Sandeep Dahiya, for this webinar. I have worked in healthcare consulting for around 6 years. I'm interested in knowing if and how this certificate would enhance my knowledge about healthcare policies and its mechanism. Rishi, I think it's going to be an excellent way of rounding out the experience that you already have. Uh, Frequently in healthcare consulting, one tends to specialize. For example, I mean, I do not know what area you focused in. Many times, a healthcare consultant would have a very deep knowledge of, say, providers like hospitals or physician practices or electronic health records. Hopefully, this certificate allows you to step out of the you know weeds and take a broader look at how the whole sector works, and uh, and allow you to see how the sandbox that you have played in when you were a consultant, how does that fit in with the larger picture. So so I hope that's this helps to give you a very concrete example. The course on the business of healthcare, the one required course, takes you through everything, payers, providers, patients, policymakers, and it shows what are the incentives, what are the policies, what are the guardrails, what are the constraints in which every one of these players works and tries to maneuver for advantage. So that course is I'm sure is going to be very, very helpful. The courses that we have listed, all of those help you flesh out the skill set that you already have. In our list B, we have a couple of courses that are very, very consulting focused, not necessarily healthcare consulting, but consulting broadly. And they're taught by Professor Nick Lovegrove, who used to work at McKinsey, and they are excellent courses. So hopefully, there is a rich offering of courses which would allow you to achieve what you have articulated in your comment. So if there are no more additional questions, I would like to take this opportunity to thank everyone and again extend an invitation to reach out to us, ask for more questions. If you need more information, we'll be very happy to provide. I am very excited about this certificate. I think our students are going to get a great set of course offerings and an excellent grounding in this sector. The launch has been phenomenal. The first course is currently being delivered by Dan. It's oversubscribed, and I'm hearing wonderful things about it. And I hope this momentum will continue. So I hope this was useful, and I wish everyone best of luck. Thank you.